I know there's more waiting for me, but where do I even begin? Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought that? Or maybe you've whispered to yourself, "Ugh, it's just too late. I missed my chance." Well, today's guest is about to lovingly shake that thought right out of your head. I'm Jodi Silverman, life coach, speaker, and your go-to midlife motivator. Welcome to Dare On with Jodi. I created this space because, let's be real, you've spent decades pouring into everyone else. Now it's your time. And if the thought of dreaming big again scares you, good. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. In today's episode, I'm joined by author and former librarian and my friend Patti, who dared to say yes to her dreams in her 50s, walking away from the security and guilt to step into freedom, creativity, and purpose. Together, Patti and I will unpack what it takes to reinvent your life at any age, how to define fear before it defines you, and why doing the thing messy is still doing the thing. And if you're wondering where to even start, I've got a free tool to help you find your footing. The Wheel of Life workbook is linked in the show notes below. It's a powerful first step to reconnecting with you. Grab your copy after this episode. But for now, let's dive in. Hey, Patti, welcome to Dare On with Jodi.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
I know. I'm excited because you have a lot of, we talk about, sharing our daring moments and reigniting dreams and you have so many daring moments through your life journey. So we're going to talk, the overarching thing we're going to talk about is how saying yes to more things later in life is the way towards living a fulfilling, meaningful, and purposeful midlife chapter. It really is. And what I want to say right now to our audience, this is going to be an episode that you can share with your adult children. Because I really believe like if we can share our wisdom and knowledge and we have this platform, a podcast that we can do that, then, some things come with age. We'll talk about that. But I think we can help the younger generation get there sooner than we did with a little less pain.
Oh, let's hope so.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit about your story. Tell a little bit about, who you are, you know, and maybe touch on your story. And then we're just going to dive into this in a conversation where we can share how other people can, create their own daring life by saying yes.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm happy to. So, in a nutshell, I was always the people pleaser.
Mm.
I was the good girl. My father was married and divorced three times before his fourth marriage that actually lasted. And so, because of that, and I was the woman of the house a lot in my growing up years, I had a lot of responsibility, or I put a lot of responsibility on myself to kind of, make everything okay for everybody.
Mhm.
When the shit hit the fan, it was like I was the one that I wanted to make sure everything was okay. But then I carried that into my adult life. I always felt like I had to be, if I was on all the time and if I could just get ahead of it, if I could get ahead of whatever the problem might be, I could be, the best employee I could be. I could be the best girlfriend or best wife and then mother. And it was a lot. It was a lot to take on. And by the time I was 33, I had a complete and utter total nervous breakdown.
Oh.
My marriage was really in peril at that point, and then it got better. But it happened to me again in my early 40s. So, without going into all these big details, I will tell you that I had to learn that what my needs and my wants were important enough to speak up
Mm.
and to say, this is what I require to just be me. And by the time I finally, and I had lots of different jobs and I had my own business. I worked for people, but then I also would run my own businesses. And then I became a public school librarian
Love
because
that.
as authors do, it's so cliche, the writer the librarian that wants to become an author. Um, but during that time, I was thinking, okay, here I am working and serving for children again, which is a great and admirable job. But I felt like my whole life was, serving for others and doing for others. And after a while, I was like, what about me? And
Mm.
the guilt that women carry, men too, but primarily, I think that women carry a lot of guilt for saying, I need more, or what about me? Because
Yeah.
we put the children first, we put the home first, the spouse first. If you're caring for your elderly parents, you put them first. But we forget that we have needs. And come 2020, when everything came to a screeching halt, I realized maybe I don't want to do this job anymore. And then I thought, oh my God, maybe I created this crazy thing that we're all going to have to go home. And then
Right?
we feel like we're stopping. But I took advantage of that opportunity and I thought, all right, I'm going to really reevaluate where I want to be in this time of my life. My kids were grown. My husband was retired from as a firefighter, as a battalion chief, and he was doing his thing. He's a farmer. And I thought, I need to really embrace what it is that I want to do and let go of the guilt.
Well, and I'm just interjecting because yeah, it's similar to my story, and it's not unique. Like you're saying, it's not unique. When I realize, like, when my kids are gone, if all I have left is this business that I ran, I mean, it was my own business. Is that enough? And I was like, no. I'm like, what's wrong with me? And it's not that whole. You can have it all, but you can. You're allowed to want it all. And then
Yes.
how you decide to go do that, that's for you to choose. But we're allowed to want something just for ourselves. And I know you know that. And I'm just saying it again to reiterate. And I do think there's a little bit part of the millennial generation that gets that a little bit. I think they're
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
that a
they
little bit.
are getting that.
They are. They are. They
But I
are.
mean, my daughter, ironically, I was talking to her this morning, and she had been working for an Intel type company for, I don't know, 5, 6 years. And they just did a big, massive layoff. And so she was one of the cuts. And so she's dabbling and thinking about starting her own business. And at 31 years old, she's kind of feeling stuck. And I see about that with women. We get stuck on what do we do first. And I said, honey, and this is something that all of us need to learn, is if you want something that you've never had before, you must be willing to do something you've never done before.
Yes, mic drop moment, except it's too expensive to actually drop it on the floor.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
We
You,
have to be willing to say, okay, I'm scared. I don't know how to do this thing, but God, it would feel really great if I could.
yes. That's a daring moment. Right there is your daring moment.
Right.
And that's where you're standing in the middle of the street and you can go to the left, straight, to the right, or stay stuck right where you're standing. And that's a daring moment when you have to face the uncertainty head on.
Absolutely.
And I know that you've had that. I know I've had that. So, and I know that you're a big believer, as I am, and that you can change the direction of your life at any age.
You
So you
absolutely
were
can.
the librarian, and like many of us, the shutdown, the pandemic was a mess of a situation, but created space and a pause for a lot of us to reevaluate our lives and the direction we were going in. So you were this librarian, and you decided you wanted something else.
Yeah, well, I had just released my first novel after the fire in November of 2019. And I was gaining momentum and I was feeling really good about, ooh, maybe I can really do this thing, right? And it was selling great. I was the first week, I was an Amazon bestseller in that first week because I had so many sales. And then everything came to a halt and I couldn't do my author events. So I'm depressed because I'm thinking, ooh, somebody just pulled the damn rug out from underneath me. It's something I really, really wanted badly, was to become an author. And here I was, this author, and now I can't promote the dang thing. Then I was depressed because I'm thinking, maybe I don't want to work in the library anymore. Maybe I don't want to work with children anymore. I love them, but I'd been doing it for so long. I wanted to be with adults more. And then we came to this screeching halt, and I thought, okay, I know what I do want. I have no idea how to get there, and I feel guilty because at the time I was only 53, and they were saying, "Oh, you're too young to retire. What do you mean you're going to retire?" And I got a lot of pushback. And
I'm
I was
sure.
shocked from some of the people that I got the pushback from. What do you mean you're going to retire? You can't do that. Even my husband was like, be careful, be sure that this is what you want, because once you do it, you can't go back. And so I was like, oh my God, listen to all this. But I had this gut feeling, and I imagined what would it feel like to
Mm,
wake up every morning and to just be able to write and to be able to focus fully on this. So I gave myself a year. I gave myself an exit date. So I didn't jump off into the abyss without preparing myself and for with having goals.
hmm.
So it was scary. But at the same time, I knew that in 1 year, in one calendar year, I was going to embark on a brand new journey that would be all about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I really did learn to let go of the guilt. It was a journey. It's still a journey. I still have guilt sometimes, but yeah, I did. 2021 rolled around. I retired early. By then I guess I was 50, no, I guess I was 53 when I retired, but it took me the whole year to decide. And then here I am, I'm 57. I've got my second book out that I just released this summer of 2025.
Oh, I know because I read it and
Doing
I
my thing.
loved it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jody. Well,
Oh no, I loved it. I'm like, every day at my lunchtime, I'm like, I have to find out what's happening. I have to find out what's happening. And I would be like, please let it be this and please let it be that. It was a great story. I have to tell you, great read. And we'll share a link to it. It's called Wildflower. It was
oh,
awesome.
thank
Awesome.
you.
So
Yeah, it was scary though,
yeah,
having letting go of a guaranteed paycheck.
yeah,
And then, you have this, okay, my retirement is so measly compared to what I was making on a daily basis.
right.
But I was willing to take a chance on me.
There we go. That's it. And that's what scares people is not having the faith in themselves. But you said something, I want to go back because I interviewed another woman, um, Melissa Davy, and she shared the same thing. She had this dream of her entire life of being a film writer. She was never, to create her own film, a film producer, writer, director. But she had zero experience. And she did the same thing. She didn't just jump off the cliff. She gave herself a year to figure out what she needed, what she knew, what she didn't know, who could fill the gaps. And that truly, I think, helps build your confidence to be able to let it go, to have an exit strategy
Yes,
is one way that you can really face that fear, that doubt, whatever's holding you back, to have an exit strategy and work towards it. You just have to pull the trigger when you set that goal for yourself.
absolutely. And be
Yeah.
willing to do it even a little bit messy because let's face it, you guys, anytime you're learning something new, it's not going to be pretty.
No.
It's going to be a little bit messy, but you can go back or you can get better as you go.
Mhm.
But you can clean up some of the mess. But the bottom line is what is it Maya Angelou says, when you know better, you do better. And
Yeah.
that's what we have to give ourselves that grace and know I'm going to make mistakes, but that's not going to stop me.
Right.
Fear does not get to drive the car. It can be there with me, but I'm a big woo-woo girl and I listen to Master Shri Akashana and he always says that fear, about being afraid, that's okay, but the emotion that you put behind something, that's what's going to drive you. And emotion is just energy in motion.
Oh,
And if
say
you
that
put
again. Energy and motion.
the emotion that you put behind whatever that thing is that you really want, the E is just the energy in motion.
Oh, I
So
like
whatever
that.
you're putting your biggest emotions towards, that's going to grow. But it can also be the negative thing. Sometimes we have
Yeah.
negative emotions and that's going to grow. People that have attract the shitstorm.
Yeah.
Well, I try not to do that. I try to catch myself when I'm having those negative spiraling thoughts like, I can't do this. I'm too old. I don't have the knowledge. All those things. I don't have the money. I don't have the backing. When you start thinking of all those things, that's just going to grow.
Yeah.
Instead, you turn it around and say, I may not know now, but I'm capable of learning. And if you have enough energy behind that, you will learn. You
Yes.
can.
You can find the people that can spoil. That's what I love, like what you're saying and what Melissa said. Melissa said because she was in her 60s when she did it. And she said I was mature enough and had enough growth behind her that her ego didn't get away enough for her to make a list of all the things she didn't know. So
Right.
she was able to make a list of everything she knew, but everything she didn't know so that she could go out and ask and find those people who knew what she didn't know to help her and teach her and mentor her. So you have to, I think that also comes, admitting I don't know it all. Like when I didn't know how to build a membership community. I started joining membership communities and talking to coaches who knew about membership communities. And how about our podcast? We used to have a podcast. I didn't know how to do a podcast. I had to
I had
ask
to
for it.
train myself.
Right. We figured out, you figured out, I always, done is better than perfect. We've all, and be daring, not perfect. Like be daring, not perfect. But I like that. I like, you know, pushing, having that exit plan and having that dream. Your dream is bigger than the fear. Your dream has
It
to be bigger
has
than
to
the
be.
fear. But I love everything that you've said. So, and when people are, so you shared a lot already in this, but for those people that are really sitting here stuck or disconnected from their dreams, what would be the one first simple step that you could recommend to somebody to start moving toward that dream, even if it feels like such like a far distant, like a pipe dream?
Yeah. Well, I always say that just the 1 or 2 degree shift will take you into a completely different trajectory in your life. So it doesn't have to be a big switch. It can happen gradually.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're going to look up and you're going to be in a completely different place than you were a year ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing for people that are afraid, like I was the big fear-based person for a long time and I've changed so much. But back when I was living in fear, if I really wanted to do something, I would have to tell myself, one, it's okay to be afraid. It's there. Your fear is there to protect you. But tell yourself, there's two different types of fear. There's the fear that, oh God, it would feel so good if I could do this thing, but I'm just scared that I might screw it up, or what are people going to think? That's the kind of fear that you should do it anyway.
Yes.
Then you have that fear that just makes you sick inside. It's dread. Oh God, I would never want to do that. I wish I didn't have to do that. That's when that's telling you don't do it.
That
So
just happened to
just,
me.
yeah,
Yep.
so just decide what it is, what kind of fear you have. And then if it's something you truly desire to do, make lists. I'm a huge list person.
Hmm.
List the things for the long-term goals and the short-term goals. I love to check a box off. If you see yourself actually checking things off a list, you're
Yes.
going to be motivated that, oh my gosh, I made progress today, or I made progress this week, or at the end of this month, I actually did this thing.
Hmm.
And it's slow progress, but forward motion is still forward motion. Give
It
yourself
is.
a break.
It is. And I'm going to add that great, great advice. Great advice. I like how you said define your fear because there is a difference. I was embarking on a journey as actually of writing, and you know this. And I was excited about it. I was excited about the thought about having a book, and as I started the process, it was dread. It was dread. I mean, there's a difference between me having like, oh my God, this is hard. This is hard. Hard I can do.
Right.
But I was in like, I'm like, this is not the way I should be feeling if I'm embarking on doing something I really, really want to do. So I pushed pause. I just said, no, no, not now. Maybe it'll come up another time. Maybe it won't. Maybe that's why I have a podcast because I like using my words vocally versus writing them down. I mean, not everybody is a
Yeah,
writer.
and you have to tell yourself that if you're feeling like you should, because it's like, oh, this is the next logical thing, I guess I should,
Hmm.
throw
Hmm.
that word out. We
Yeah.
don't need that. At our age, we've done all the things we should.
Yeah. Now it's about what do
Time
I
to
want?
now exactly. We
Yeah.
need to decide for ourselves whether or not we want to or not. Throw should away.
And I would say I was going to ask you, like, how do you define you hear everybody using the phrase live your best life, live your best life. That's, it was just like, get rid of fear. You can't get rid of fear. Fear is always there. It's understanding why it's there and doing what you want to do anyway.
Right.
But that living your best life, you just kind of said like living your best life. You just gave me the answer. It's not doing the things that you're saying you should do, but doing the things that you really want to do. I know I just said that as my answer, but I mean, what would you add to that if you had to define like really what does that even mean to live your best life?
Well, yeah, that's what my podcast was about when I did Beautiful Second Act.
Yep.
And I did it as long as I was happy doing it. And then when I wanted to just write, I had to, after 158 episodes, I was done.
And
But
that was hard to do, to let
it was
go of an
hard to let it go
audience.
because I loved it. It just, there's only so many hours in a day, right?
Yep.
And my writing
Yep.
had to take precedence over the podcast. But it was called Beautiful Second Act, and it was living our best life in the second half of life. What does that mean? And I had to come up against that all the time, thinking, what does that mean? What does that mean for me? And to be honest with you, Jody, it means, and it's going to change all the time, by the way,
Oh,
it
yeah.
means doing what feels good to me at that time in my life without having to feel guilt, unapologetically. Being mature enough and comfortable in my own skin enough to do the thing that really truly drives me at that stage in my life unapologetically. But I do know it's a constant change because we're always evolving. And what
Absolutely.
was good for me 10 years ago, what was good for me 5 years ago may not necessarily be good for me today. And that's okay too.
It is. It is. Look, thank you for that. I love how you define that. Um, I help people, I lead vision board workshops. And I always say at the end, after I tell them how to use their vision board, how to best use it to manifest, to keep them on target, I say, and with that being said, if in 30 days, 90 days, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, you look at the vision board and you realize there's something on there that you no longer desire, not because it's hard, you can do hard, because you're like, something's happened in your life, you shift, go over there and take it off. Take it
Yeah.
off. Just because you put it on your vision board doesn't mean you have to do it.
You can change your mind.
I have my book on my vision board. I have my book on my vision board. I'm not taking it off because it's representative of something else to me. But yeah, I love that. I love doing what feels good to you at the time in your life that you're in without guilt, unapologetically. That's living your best life. Boom. Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
absolutely.
I love it. All right. So now it's dare time. Because you shared a lot of good stuff. You really did. I mean, fear can really stop you
Oh,
in your
yeah.
tracks.
I mean,
But you
it
said it like
could.
I've never had a guest over 130 episodes share how to define your fear. And I love that. So now we have to leave a dare. We can't leave Dare On with Jody without a dare for our audience. So what would you dare somebody listening right now who really, really wants to go for her dream? What would you dare her to do?
Well, I would dare anyone really that if there's something out there that you really always wanted to do, but you've never been brave enough to do it anyway.
Mm,
Be, if you, because you don't want to get to the end game and look back and say, God, I really wish I'd been brave enough to do that thing. Be brave.
yep.
Dare to be brave.
Oh,
And if you fail, who cares? You did it. You can feel good that you tried because there is no fail. To me,
no, I don't
it's
look at,
just a
yeah.
lesson.
I don't look at me abandoning the decision to write a book a failure.
No,
I
it's a
actually
lesson in
I
yourself.
actually find it very courageous that I recognized that I was being so stressed out over it. But I learned something from the process. There's always something you learn. So be
Yeah.
grateful for it. But I love that. Dare to be brave enough and to do something you've always wanted to do. And if you need somebody to link arms with and cheer you on, reach out to us. Reach out to us. Who's on your team? I always say who's on your team. Who in
Yeah,
your life would be that person that would say, yes, you can. Not the person who's going to tell you, oh, don't do it because of their fear, because they're stuck in fear. Who's the person that you can turn to say, I want to do this. I'm scared, but I want to do it. I need you to cheer me on. I need you to help me there. Who is it? Because we all have that person in our life. And if you don't, come over to Moms Who Dare Facebook group, find me, and we'll have a chat. Reach out to Patty. We'll have a chat.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
And just
Patty,
because it's hard doesn't mean we can't. And just
exactly.
because we're getting older doesn't mean anything either. We
Actually,
just
it's a
have to
perfect
decide.
time.
Yeah, it's the best time.
Getting back to like the beginning, saying yes to more things later in life. It is the perfect time to say yes to things. We have so much experience. We don't have the apologies behind us. We don't have so much of the fear to failure. We have a different fear. Just do it anyway. Who cares?
That's
Who
right.
cares? I have somebody I know who's that we have this one precious life. I think it was Marianne Williamson as part of a quote from her. We have this one precious life. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah. And you only need to, you need to you're the person that at the end of the day, you need to say, oh, I'm glad I did that. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if somebody else wants you to or doesn't want you to. If you feel good about yourself at the end of the day, that you did something or that you did it or you chose not to do something, you
Yeah.
can go, that's right.
I love it.
Because you have to please you every day.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, Patty, thank you. Thank you for being our guest. We will drop everything about you and your awesome books in our show notes
Yeah.
below.
I
Yeah.
got Wildflower. Yay.
Yeah,
Just
there
came
you
down
go. We're
the
holding it
line, you
up. If you're
guys.
not watching the video, go right now to the video, fast forward to the end, and hold it up again. Hold up the book.
Flower.
Wildflower. I'm telling you, it was a great read. Great. And I'm so
Oh, I had
proud to know
so
you.
much fun writing it.
Yeah. Well, I could see why the characters were fun to write.
I
Awesome.
really appreciate it.
Thanks, Patty.
All right. Thank you so much.
There are. So, what if you just did the thing? What if, instead of letting fear run the show, you decided to be brave anyway? Patty said it best. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be true to you. If today's conversation stirred something inside of you, don't let it fade. Grab that journal, make the list, define the fear, take the tiniest step forward, because that 1 degree shift, it leads to a brand new direction. And if you need someone in your corner, someone to say, yes, you can, then come find me inside the Moms Who Dare Facebook group. You don't have to do this alone. We're in there living boldly, one daring moment at a time. I'll be waiting inside to welcome you. Until next time, dare on.